All right, what is up, everyone? Um, for those that don't know, I'm Iridin from House of Zug. I've had a couple people ask me, or I've seen it in guild chat, raid chat, kind of how do I go, or what, first of all, what are logs? When we talk about the combat logs from, our raids, what are we talking about? How do I do it? I want to see what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, how can I use them to improve? So we're gonna do, or I'm going to do a small series. I'm gonna try to get maybe 5 at most, but I'm gonna try to do it in about 15-minute little pieces, so that because I know talking about once you start hearing more about it, you realize that talking about logs is really dry. So I'm gonna try to do it in about 15 minutes. This first one, I'm gonna do it as basic as I can. If you notice, I'm not even logged in. So, first thing you want to do, warcraftlogs.com is the website, for those that haven't known. So, basically, you just straight up log in, and it will, say, in my case, it brings up my BattleNet. And there's a couple ways you can search. What you can do is, well, there's a couple ways. You can go to the search and you can say House of Zug, and it'll, bam, right here. We are the only House of Zug. Easy enough to find. The other way is when you have this in, you can go to, there's your little character icon in the upper corner. In my case, it has personal logs. This would be, for instance, for those that were applying to join House of Zug before, everything. That would be kind of where I think I kept mine there. That one I don't even know. But House of Zug. So I'm going to go to House of Zug, and what it'll automatically do is it brings up the full list of up a while back, up to 6 months ago. So you can kind of tell where we stopped keeping logs, and here we've, since we kind of rebooted. And so, for instance, let's just go to this most recent one. So okay, so we'll go to this most recent one. And you have all of this information. Oh my gosh, and it shows Archimond and all of this. Trust me, it's going to make sense. But what we want to do first is make sure that you can find the right kind of what information will I get from this? How can I find the right logs? And how do I get the right information? How do I make sure that I'm looking at what I want to look at? And that's what this first one's going to be about. So, a couple keys. Now you'll see up here, if you notice the name's in gold. Uh, Before I logged in, it said, you can support by Patreon. For the guild, it's like $3 a month or something like that in Patreon. Totally worth it. Our logs are never deleted, and we are on like the prime servers for it to get uploaded in. Like, basically, as it's live, we're able to get the information a lot faster instead of having to wait for a queue that can take a couple minutes. It can make a difference. And so here's where a lot of information can come just from this basic window. So there's damage done, healing done. You have your damage by ability. Obviously, most bosses, you're going to have melee as the top. He's going to punch everyone in the face. And then if you mouse over it, oh, okay, so we're going to have to go to the damage taken, or the damage taken by ability part to actually have this other part brought up. Also has deaths. This one's not so as important when you start thinking about it, because if you remember from the top, it is a wipe. We did not get the kill. So what we want to look at is what boss do I want to look at? Tell you what, so let's go to Gorefiend. Alright, so now we can look and see, okay, so who died on, who died on Gorefiend? So that is we'll just say Veritar's Priest. And what caused it? Crushing Darkness. So it creates a series of explosions. So what the Crushing Darkness is, if you remember, there's like a ring that forms on the ground, and it'll explode. That's what that is. So that does roughly 200,000 damage within 4 yards. So that'll hurt. That'll hurt a lot. Doomwell. So oh, okay. I know what the Doomwell is. He died on the inside. He died while upstairs. Makir was one of the tanks. Wait, no, he was a DPS at that time, but he died upstairs. Hunger for Life. So it looks like Kindle got hit with one of the skeletons on the ground. Now, and then Touch of Doom. Touch of Doom, I hate to say it, that's gonna happen sometimes. Because there's not only is it the Touch of Doom, but there's also the puddle on the ground. I don't know if it counts it the same, but we'll hear in later episodes, if I dare call it that, we'll have a better idea as to why someone died, how someone died, could it have been prevented, did they get any kind of heals back, stuff like that. Now we can also look up here, and this is just the general info. This is just kind of the general stuff. You can see who did the most damage, who did the most healing, what caused Feast of Souls is the #1 ability. Not too shocking when you think about it, considering everybody's getting hit with it. So, and if I remember right, I think we went into a second part. We may have gone only in one of those. So what we can do, and I'm about at the halfway point of this episode. Do I want to start going into the second one? Here's what we can do. So we can even go and we can look at there's a normal phase and a Feast of Souls phase. So and not every boss will have this. Obviously, Archimonde isn't going to show the Feast of Souls phase. So what you have is also along here. This is this is the Feast of Souls phase right here. This in the gray. And then also you have the blue. This should be where we had Time Warp. 211, yeah, so there's also this nice little text. It's right beside where my mouse icon is, and it should be popped up. You're seeing the overall damage done, and it says Ziziva cast Time Warp. Perfect. We can even look at the healing receive. So we actually had 2 people hit Time Warp. That's perfectly fine. I mean, better 2 than none. Let's see. There's the damage taken meter. So the blue here is damage done. Yellow is the healing received. Red is the damage taken. So you can tell just from looking at this. I mean, we're looking real good. A lot of towards the end we were probably needing a cooldown, but everything ended up balancing out in the end. We are golden. But you can see who did even the healing done during that phase. If you remember on the overall, so let me go all phases. You had Banana Feeler being up top with the healing done. During that Feast of Souls, Veritar was. So it's kind of a little bit different like that. So, the damage taken by ability, obviously, during Feast of Souls is going to be Feast of Souls. #2 is going to be the Unstable Soul, for those that don't know. Those are the little shiny orbs that try to come in and hurt the raid. The tanks have to take that damage. So that's why it's the #2 ability. And after that, really, anything else is going to be, let's see, the Spirit Volley. So we must have had an add up that got 1 hit off. You have Life Tap. I don't know how that Doomwell would have happened, but we may have had, it may be one of those things where, oh, I know what it is. So this was when Touch of Doom goes off, the puddle on the ground forms. Sometimes the tanks just have to go through it to get this unstable soul. There you go. All right. So let's see. So you can kind of go and see who did the most damage, who did, a little damage, etc., etc. Let's go back to all phases. And let's see. You know what? I'm going to call this one early so I can go more into detail on the next one because I don't want to just get halfway through. So let me go over just a little bit more information about what you can actually find here, and then I'll end this, go into a second one. The next one's going to have a lot more of, that one I'm going to go more detail into your damage done, your damage taken. I'm going to start with damage taken. And because the less damage taken, the less healing that needs to be done, the more likely you are to live. But anyway, let me backtrack just a little bit. So you have your timelines. Of course, it's still under construction. You have your events. So this would be the first pull. So this you can just go. I don't know where it's trying to pull this from. Why is it? Oh, so this is okay. So I get this now. So what they're talking about, the event is Gorfine was engaged. This is the information for every single person. So this is what gear. What gear everyone had on, their talents. This is some unreal kind of information. Their buffs, the 2-piece bonus from fire, for example. So you can kind of tell who had 4-piece. So here's the 4-piece bonus. Who didn't have any bonuses. Who had, say, we see that Zen has the buff Beacon of Light. So Ursa had put Beacon of Light on Zen. So we can go with that. You have the Atonement. So Atonement was up. All right. But you can go through and you can look at the gear for every person that was in here. Now you can go down and look at, so now it goes a little more in detail about what each individual person was casting, like the 0.4 seconds after pull. 0.083. Very well done, Kindle. How you got it? I wonder how'd you get that off? By the way, that's unless you were storing it. I don't know. That's nice, actually. What is the 4-piece bonus? Oh, yeah. Okay. So here's where the first real damage was being done, and I mean, it can go through this for the whole fight. That's why there were multiple pages. Anyway. So you can even go and change how that showed everyone. You can just change it to show danger prone. You can change it to just show Alcar, etc. You can have it only show the sources if you only want it to show things that Gorfine did, etc. So we'll go from there. I'll go ahead and end this first episode here, and then we'll come back, do a second one, and we will go much more in depth as far as this bar. And we might even get up to here if it works. I'll do check on that before I start recording the next one. Anyway, this is Iridin, House of Zug, houseofzug.com. If you have any questions, message me or catch me on Mumble. I will see you soon.